What's up, everybody? Dapper Jeff here, and today I hit a wall. I had one of those moments of, oh man, what can I make for you guys? What's gonna be delicious? And I got to thinking, I'm craving spicy. I'm craving heat, and I have no idea. So I fired up some Diablo, and I started playing a little bit, and I'm like, I have no plan. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna wing it. Alright guys, for these wings today, inspired by the hellish demons of Diablo, you're gonna need just a few ingredients. You're gonna want 4 pounds of chicken wings. I slacked a little bit, I've got 3 right here. You want 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 3/4 teaspoons of salt, and I'm gonna show you why in just a second. For the sauce, you're going to want 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, a 1/2 cup of Frank's Red Hot Original Hot Sauce, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and for a side, we're doing carrots and celery. Because can you really have wings without those? Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 250 degrees. And I know what you're thinking, Dapper Jeff, why so low? Well, I'm going to show you. It's a little trick that we're doing because we're baking the wings and not frying them. So the first thing I want to do after I've preheated my oven is get my wings prepped. I'm going to carefully cut open a package of wings so I don't slice my finger open again. That was a fun day, remember that? That trip to the emergency room? Alright, so now that you've gotten your package of wings, I have a paper towel laid down on a plate. This way I can take the wings out and carefully lay them down. Now what I'm going to do is something that'll help the skin of the wings crisp up, but at the same time, get the fat to render out. So now I've gotten my wings laid down with paper towel on the bottom, I'm going to take another paper towel, and I'm just going to pat my wings dry. That's right, I'm going to pat the wings. Pat, pat, pat. Patting the wings. Pat, pat, pat. Pat your wings so they're dry. Soak up the moisture on the skin. So now that we've done our fun round of pat the wings, pat, 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 I'm gonna take 2 cooling racks for cookies, put them on a foil-lined baking sheet like so, bust out our handy no-stick cooking spray. You can use whatever brand you like, doesn't really matter. And what I'm gonna do here is just a quick once over, more so to make sure that the racks are coated, because that's going to be important to baking our wings. Alright, so our oven is preheated, it is up to temp. Now I'm going to take these wings that I have pat dry, I'm going to take our Ziploc bag, and here's where the fun starts. So after we've gotten our Ziploc bag, we're going to take our baking powder and dump it in. After the baking powder, you want to add your salt. Okay, and then we're going to take our dry wings, drop them in. You know what? I'm going to take a page out of Diablo's book. I'm going to summon some demons. They're going to help me cook. So after we put our wings in, we're just going to want to shake them up. I'll invert the bag and shaky shaky to get them nice and coated. Alright, after they're good and coated, we're going to move over to our baking rack. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, Dapper Jeff, why did you coat them? Well, the baking powder and the salt mixture are going to help draw the moisture out of the chicken skin up to the surface. And it's okay if the wings touch when they're on the baking sheet. That's what good buddies do. They get close. And I'm using the cooling rack on the baking sheet to give it some elevation. This way, when they go in the oven, the fat is going to render out of the wings and collect in the baking pan. So your wings are going to be lower in fat, a little lower in calories, and a little bit healthier. All right, so after you get your chicken powdered and coated, you're gonna open your oven, 250 degrees. You're gonna wanna set them in the bottom quarter of the oven. And we're gonna leave that sit for 30 minutes. So now that I've gotten my wings in the oven for their first cook through, which is just to really render out the fat, I'm gonna prep the sauce. 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter and a half cup of Frank's Red Hot sauce. Never had Frank's before, so this is gonna be a new experience for me. A full half cup. I have 1 tablespoon of brown sugar and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And all I'm gonna do is take my fork and just whisk them together. I mean, this is it. Just whipping them together. All right, so what I'm gonna do is grab maybe 3 stalks at a time and just nip off this end little, like, spoony, cuppy looking bit. You know, the part that was by the roots. Technical term, by the way, spoony, cuppy looking bit. And then just, you know, however big we want our celery sticks to be. I think that's a fair size. Just chop. We use these as a measuring tool now. And then we just chop. We throw them on a plate. All right, guys, so I have here a bunch of carrots. I just rinsed them off. I'm gonna peel them real quick, and then I'm gonna cut them into little carrot sticks because, again, you know, carrot sticks just go with wings. They add their own little bit of sweetness to it, while simultaneously dampening some of the heat. All right, so now that I've skinned the carrots, I'm gonna lop the little end tip off because, you know, we don't need it. And then I'm gonna take the carrots and I'm gonna turn them into carrot sticks. And I know a lot of you are like, Dapper Jeff, how are you gonna do that? Well, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna save those couple tips for later. I'm gonna take my carrot, lay it down as flat as I can. That clearly worked. As flat as I can. Hope to God it doesn't roll so I slice my hand open. That would be fun. You guys get to watch that. If that ever happens, by the way, like if I ever cut or burn myself, we're keeping it. All right, so I cut it in half. I lay the halves on the flat side down. Cut them in half again. And bam. Carrot stick. Delicious, nutritious. Dip it in your hot sauce. Fantastic. So now we're going to increase the temp to 425 from their bottom rack where they've been rendering, because you can kind of see some of the fat on the pan. I'm going to move them up to the top rack where they're going to cook for about 45 minutes once it comes to temp. All right, guys, so after being in the oven for 45 minutes, I'm going to pull out our wings. Oh, look at that. That is a beautiful golden brown crispiness. That just looks amazing. Now, as you guys can see, we use the cooling racks so all the fat can drip down. These wings are healthier than had I deep fried them. Could have fried them, didn't. I'm gonna grab a set of tongs and always click them twice. Take the wings and drop them into our bucket. Now, if your wings have shrunk a little bit, that's okay. It's perfectly normal for, you know, because we're baking them instead of frying them. So the last thing we do before these wings are ready to eat is we take that sauce that we mixed up earlier, pour it in here all over these wings. And you can do that with any sauce. It doesn't have to be, you know, buffalo. If you're more of a teriyaki person, go for it. Put the lid on. Secure the lid in place. Toss our wings to get a nice, good coating of the sauce. This way, when we pop it open, we have delicious, crispy buffalo wings that we just made. Alright everybody, that's how you make some fantastic buffalo wings inspired by Diablo. I'm Dapper Jeff. Don't forget, click subscribe and like down below. Ring that bell so you never miss another episode. And I hope you guys have stayed well fed. I'm gonna pat the wings. Pat, pat, pat. Patting the wings. Pat, pat, pat. Bunnies don't actually like carrots. I want to say they're like actually really not good for bunnies. Bugs Bunny and cartoons tweaking the universal consciousness.